Good evening. Welcome to this Live on Purpose community page. My name is Patty Baker. This page is all about intentional living, heart, soul, mind, and strength, your emotional health, spiritual health, mental health, and physical health. It is about living on purpose in a way that is Christ-centered rather than self-centered. I hope that whenever you're joining me, that you take the time to like and share the video if you think that it's something that would be useful to someone else. I am talking tonight about raising up your children. So raise them up on purpose is the topic for tonight. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get started. Hi, Bobby. Wonderful to see you in the house tonight. I had this kind of epiphany last week when I went to, it was an assembly where parents were invited, and I got in as Aunt Patty. But I have a lot of spiritual children, and I love all of them. Although I've never had kids, trust me, I feel like I've had countless children, and I love that. So I got invited to this awards and recognition ceremony, and this kind of, not only that, but a lot of you are posting photos of graduations and things like that. So it caused me to pause and think. Hi, Robbie. Wonderful to see you tonight, sir. Glad you are here. And it caused me to pause and think that Mother's Day and Father's Day are bookends to, like, celebrating kids, if you will, right? I feel like all of the graduations and school ending for the year and all of those things, it's a crazy time, but it's a great time because we're celebrating our kids, whether they're graduating from preschool or grade school or middle school or high school or college, or maybe they're just going from one grade to another and you're like, oh my goodness, right? Hi, Maggie. Hi, David. I love you guys, and great to see all of you joining in tonight. The feed goes pretty fast for me, and so I missed you. I'll come back around and grab you and say hello to you before we bounce off here. But it caused me to pause and think as I'm going to this honor assembly for awards and recognitions for these students. And they're a graduating class of 346 from a nearby high school where I live. And this awards and recognition ceremony was open to parents. And like I said, I got in under Aunt Patty. I know, right? Hi, Jim. As I sat there, I heard conversations around me. And of course, I was with a young adult with me as we were kind of waiting for the ceremony to begin and the students to come in, and we're just kind of sitting there. I'm taking it all in, and I can see where some parents are wanting to get, in a certain place for the right photo, and they're talking about, my son, my daughter has done this, that, and the other, and what's your son or daughter doing after this, and my son this, and my daughter that. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And I was like, wow. Just to hear the buzzing of proud parents. And by the way, this was on a Friday afternoon. Really? Like, if you're wanting to celebrate your kids, I guess, wouldn't you want to do that in the evening? And what, your parents have to take off work to go to something like that? I don't know. I've never had children, but I'm like, what? I mean, it just doesn't seem right to me. So anyway, all of this to say, I just want to come back up because I saw somebody say, oh, hey, Pat, great to see you tonight. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're doing better, for sure. So anyway, I wanted to give you some statistics because as I was sitting there, I was doing some fast math, and there were 346 kids who are graduating from this high school. 5% of those, I counted quickly, between 15 and 17 kids stood up when they asked the question, how many of you are going into the military? So there must have been 15 or 17 students stand up. The next question was, how many of you are going right straight out into the workforce? And no one stood up. And there was like this laughter that went through the assembly. And then the next question was, how many of you are going to college? And then all of them, except for those 5%, stood up. And so that makes 329 students going to college. None of them are entering into the workforce. And 9 of those 329 are receiving $7 million, 9 kids, $7 million worth of scholarship money for college. That's about, I did the math, $775,000 a piece for college. And they had, when they stood for all of the honors that they received, I don't know how they were standing, they were so heavy. They had on their they were dressed up, but they had on their cords, medals, sashes, they had plaques, they had the whole thing, certificates, the whole 9 yards. 9 of them, the top 9 academics in the graduating class of 346 are getting $7 million. $750,000 a piece. $775,000 each. It's crazy. So that means with the 320 left, minus the 9 that already got a free ride and then some, and the 15 or 17 that are going straight into the military, and all the rest, the 320 that are going on to college, there was $19.5 million in scholarship money there. That means if you just average it out, it's about 60 grand per student. Amazing, isn't it? And I'm not saying that every kid got a scholarship, but that's the average. I found the statistics to be striking, that it was almost laughable that nobody was entering into the workforce. Nobody was entering into the trades or doing anything like that. And it was laughed at, like, why would you even, the laugh was kind of like, well, who would want to? Like, we're going to college, right? Hi, Ed. I went to the ceremony for someone who's graduating, who didn't get a cord, who didn't get a medal, who didn't get a sash, who didn't get a plaque, who didn't get a certificate, who didn't make the honor roll. I went to celebrate him, not for those things, but because of his unrecognized achievements, which includes his good character. Because you see, this young man graduated in 3 years. Amazing to me that he would graduate a year early. Amazing to me that he would not be recognized as one of only 3 out of the 346 who did such an accomplishment. And he stayed humble, he kept his nose into the books, and he got done what he needed to get done because he's got purpose, and it's not staying around another year in high school. I went to the assembly to celebrate him, even though he didn't get recognized, because that is a huge accomplishment. Huge accomplishment to me. Parents. I'm not a parent. It's kind of a cop-out, because I can say, oh, I don't know, I've never been a parent. Or I can say something like this, well, I don't know. I've never been a parent, so I can't tell you. But you know what? I've been a kid. We all have. Let me ask you this, parents. Is it all about the chords? Or is it all about the character? Is it more about the chords? Is it more about the character? I mean, I saw some very self-absorbed, egotistical geniuses at the assembly. Are you parents proud of their achievements as much as you're proud of their attitude? Is it all about the education and college? Or is it more about the empathy and compassion that they have? Hi, Jessica. Is it more about their intellectual ability or their emotional intelligence? What are you promoting for your children? Is it really about the cords, the medals, the sashes? Trust me, I got all of that. When I was so type A driven, I got every award you could think of. But was it really about that? No. It's great to celebrate those things, and I'm not saying that they don't have value, but I believe that as a society, we are missing other values that are not being recognized. Those that deserve recognition are those that are centered around good character. Good character. It's not about the cords and the sashes and the plaques. Those are going to find a place in a box somewhere, dust on them, and you can't pull them out at a job interview. Are you going to pull those out when your marriage is on the rocks and say, well, look at all my accolades that I received in high school, in college? When you walk into the doctor's office to see the surgeon, the orthopedic surgeon, do you say, well, did you graduate at the top of your class or did you barely get by? A doctor is a doctor is a doctor. Or are you more concerned about how they treat you? What they know, their methodology and their thinking and how much they listen to you. And those other soft skills that are unspoken. I can't tell you how many times, me being in the medical field, I hear somebody say, oh, he might be a good doctor, but he doesn't have a good bedside manner. Can we not have both anymore? And to see all of this, all of this recognition for these academics in the moment, and again, don't misunderstand me. I think it's great. I could have graduated early too. My parents didn't let me. They wanted me to have a senior experience that I was like, I'm done. So the last half of my senior year, I went to college. So I don't want to discount the academics, but I think there's so much focus on it that we miss the underlying component of how we are as human beings and why other things on down the line in life break down because we don't have these as the foundational support so that our academics can rest on it. It may be a great ego boost for you parents in the moment, but what really matters is their relationships. Their relationships with God, with family, with those around them that they come in contact with, whether on a daily basis or just by happenstance. Are you raising your children to get into a good college or to have good character? Making babies requires no skills, experience, or training, folks. None. Anybody can make babies. Raising children, that's a little different. Proverbs 22:6 says this: start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. The role of a parent changes throughout the life of a child. Are you raising your children to be adults or adult children? I've seen it. The 40-year-old man who is traipsing back to mommy, doing whatever he can for her, going to the ends of the world, and yet neglecting his own home and his own wife and his own children out of guilt, need to please, and all of these unhealthy things. Not to say that there's anything bad of having a mother-son relationship, but I'm just saying the dysfunction that can arise out of that. Daddy's little girl's always coming back home for money and support and all of these other things because she's not been taught to be raised and be independent. And so she goes on into her life being cradled as a victim by the next man and the next man and the next man because she hasn't learned independence. And now Daddy's not there anymore to take care of her, and she's a mess. Are we raising our children to be adults or adult children? You know, from diapers to degrees, there's a lot of work to be done. And you are not the only one influencing the development of your children. I am. Right? The spiritual mama right here. I'm influencing your children. But so are others. You're not the only one influencing your kids. The other parent is, whether you're married to that parent or not. Grandparents are. Your parents. Extended family. The babysitter, childcare, daycare, all of these people. The schools, your friends, your neighbors. Life. All of these outside influences. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. You don't get all the blame for how your kids turn out, but you don't get all the credit either. Even single parents, you don't get all the credit. Because your kids are being influenced everywhere, all the time, by people you don't even know, can't even see, through the video games, electronics, and everything else that's going on. How are you raising your children to have good character? I don't know where this story came from, but I heard it a long time ago. And I'm paraphrasing it, and I wish I could quote where I got it from because I thought it was really good. Hi, Sonny. Great to see you, sir. I hope things are going well and you're getting back on track after your car accident. Lisa's in the house. Love you, girl. The public school is doing a play, and it is a Christmas production with musical and everything else, and there's nothing in it about Jesus. It's so commercialized. It is what it is. It's a public school. And so this devout Christian mother who has been homeschooling her child and now has this child in middle school, and this is its first school program, the mother calls the teacher and asks for a conference. The teacher already is prepared because she knows where this kid came from and all of these Christian homeschool upbringing, and now all of a sudden first year of school, and here we come up with the Christmas play. And so the teacher says to the Christian mom as she's sitting in front of her, so are you here about the play and that it's not based on, your Christian values and the fact that your child is been asked to be Santa Claus in the play? And the Christian mother said, no, I'm not here about that at all. I'm actually here to talk about my child's academics, just to see where they are, where he is in his grades. I wouldn't be here about the whole Santa Claus thing. I'm not here about that at all. Because if I were, I wouldn't be doing my job at home. The greatest influence will come from a child's parents. From the time your children are born, you're thinking about what you're going to invest in them. Like I said, there's no training manual for it. There's no model for parents to follow. Everybody gets a driver's license. If you pass an exam, take a test, it's written and practical. And yet we don't have to do anything to become a parent, right? Hi, Joe. But I want to talk to you about some, just 3 areas just to be thinking about. Not because I'm a parent and I have experience in it, but because I've been a child and I've been around a lot of parents. And I'm grateful for the parents who have allowed me to be a part of their children's lives. Be present with your kids. Be fully present with your kids, with your time, with your energy, with your focus, with your commitment. Manage your personal time so that you have time to devote to your children. I saw a mom waiting on the sidewalk to pick up her kids. She was on her phone the whole time. When her kids saw her and ran up to her, she never looked at them. She just started walking back to the car, and the kids just went right along with her. There was no eye contact that was made to those children. There was no expression of great to see you. I'm so glad you're here. I love you so much. Tell me the highlight of your day. Nothing. Nothing. Not how was your day? Fine. No. Tell me the highlight. Right? Open-ended questions. Get your kids to open up. First Timothy 3 verse 4 says, he must manage his own family well and see that his children obey him, and he must do so in a manner worthy of full respect. I didn't have a lot of respect there for that mother in that moment. I just didn't. Are you spending time with your children? Be present with them. That's number 1. I remember I was in Girl Scouts, and of course me, driven, type A, got to get every patch there is, and it was patch night, and a lot of the other girls were getting patches too, but my parents were the only parents there that night to celebrate my recognition. The only parent. My mom and dad both. Only parents. It was sad. And I remember at that young age, at 10, 11 years old, I remember that. I remember them being the only ones there. And I kind of felt sad for everybody else. And I was so happy that my parents were there to see the great accomplishment that I did. Not that it was the end-all be-all, because my parents were doing a lot more in building character. Train them up. Train them up. My dad, I came from a family where my dad was worked and my mom stayed at home for most of my younger years. When I got to be about 16 or so, she picked up a part-time job outside of the home for something to do. But my dad being the sole provider financially for our family, my mother was never seen as second rate or second best or less than in the home. She was equally important in her role. It's important to make sure that you value both parents, regardless of their roles in the home. Be present. Manage your family well. Be present. Number 2, train them up. If they're not going to learn it at home, where are they going to learn it? Are you talking about the subjects that are being talked about on campus? Then they need to be part of your home conversations. I said to my mom when she picked me up one day from school, "What's a whore?" She was like, "What?" What? I said, "What's a whore?" I don't know what a whore is. She explained it to me. And then a couple years later, as my brother was older, right? He said, "Patty, you're a whore." And I go, "What?" I go, "Mom." And she knew he was too young to know what the word meant. So she said, "Well, what do you mean by that when you say that?" And he goes, "Like scary," meaning horror, not whore, horror. there was a lot of training up. And it's in the ordinary moments, isn't it? It's not the big events. It's the everyday stuff. It's teaching them to take the extra time to do the right thing. There was a man that was crossing a parking lot. And he was waiting to cross. He was putting some trash in a bin across the parking lot. And I'm in a hurry, okay? I'm in a hurry. So I am not speeding, but I'm moving on purpose. And I pass him because I'm thinking he can wait. He's standing there waiting. But the vehicle behind me stopped for him to allow him to cross. Character. It stretched me today. We're always learning, always growing. God doesn't treat his children the same, and neither should we. We love them equally, but we love them differently. Because God's uniquely made each one of them with gifts and talents and personalities, and has instilled in them something that they're called to do in this life. It's not a one parent style fits all. Each child has a calling. And even if that child's personality is different from yours, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It means that God's equipped them for something where they need that personality, and your responsibility is to hone that in for them. My friend has a teenage daughter who had a very rough year this 10th grade year. She was in and out, suicidal attempt, was committed for a little bit, counseling, and it really set her back. As a matter of fact, it didn't look like she was going to graduate. And she had such an amazing turnaround. But the reason for all of that happening, all that bad stuff happening, was rooted in some defiance and some character building that needed to happen for her. She's gifted and she's wired to do great things. And her mother sees that in her. And she was not going to allow her daughter to continue to push boundaries when she knew for the greater good years down the road, if this doesn't get worked out of her personality right now, and she doesn't get some humble pie in her now, this is going to ruin her years down the road. And if it sets her back for a year, then it sets her back for a year, but letting it go will set her back for a lifetime. That was a tough decision that she made. There was a lot of counseling, a lot of crying, a lot of praying, a lot of talking. And she got the call yesterday from her daughter. And she finished up from school and said, "Mom, I'm graduating 10th grade and I'm going to 11th grade. And I'm really sorry for all of the things and all of the pain and all of the heartache that I caused you. You know, sometimes it's difficult to do the things that we need to do to discipline them, manage your family, train them up, build out the character, take the time to do it. It's not the easy way, but it'll have the best results. Train them up. Tailor-made parenting for tailor-made kids. God's wired them all differently. God's individualized rewards, individualized punishments. I remember my brother and sister-in-law said that they were going to punish their oldest son by sending him to his room. He loved it. He loved it. You know why he loved it? He loved it because he loves being by himself. Individualized rewards, individualized punishments. Are you pruning your child and molding them to be what God has equipped them to be? I want to give you this scripture. It's in Deuteronomy 6. It says, "These commandments I give you today are to be on your hearts, parents. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home, when you walk along the road, when you lie down, when you get up, all the time," right? All the time. And Jesus said this. Then Jesus came to them and said, "All authority in heaven and earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. I think we sometimes take this verse and say, yeah, it's for everybody else out there. But we're using this verse for our children too. We're discipling them. Teach them to obey everything that Jesus commanded us through his word. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age, Jesus said. Be present in their lives. Train them up. And the last one, demonstrate love to your children. Mark 12:30 and 31 says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. The second is this, love your neighbor as yourself. There is no greater commandment than these. Are you demonstrating love to your children? Perhaps your child experiences love in a different way than you do. Perhaps you're more of a physical touch kind of person, and maybe your child is too, so you might want to give them a pat on the back, give them a hug. Tell them you love them. Affirmation. Some kids respond better to affirmation. Encourage them. Tell them they're doing a great job. Be specific about how they're doing that great job. Take the time to affirm them. Know how your kids respond to love. It might be through acts of service. In that way, it might be helping them with their homework, going out and throwing ball with them, doing things with them, actively engaged in serving them in that way, going and helping them with a science project or getting the materials for them, being engaged. It might be purchasing something for them. It doesn't have to be something elaborate, but my dad always knew my favorite candy bar, and sometimes he'd come home and bring me my favorite candy bar, and I love that. And of course he bought one for everyone, but he bought the one I liked for me. And that made me feel special. How do your kids receive love? All of us are, have one that's kind of more developed than another. It's just how we're wired, for lack of a better term. It's how God equipped us to love in certain ways. But are you demonstrating unconditional love? Are you demonstrating love that's conditioned on certain things? Love. How well are your kids loving others? I want to end where I started, which was at the awards assembly. I was invited to see this student who's graduating, who's a friend of mine. His family are great friends of mine. And I took him out to lunch with his sister afterward, and we were celebrating, there were other people around, and it was good. But just about this student in general, in specifically, I said to him, I did not come to the assembly because you won an award, a cord, a sash, a plaque, or whatever. What I came for was to celebrate what they did not acknowledge. And that was, while everyone else was going through their senior year, doing what they needed to do, you were doing your junior year the first semester and your senior year the second, while maintaining a healthy outside activity that he loves to do, which is bowling, and does extremely well at it, and maintain good team. And I said, it's also about the content of your character. Because this young man will open the door for you. He will grab a bag from your arm so you don't have to carry it. He is considerate of others. And I celebrate that in him. And I also was quick to tell him this. As much as I am celebrating you, I'm also celebrating your parents. Because you see, he went to his parents just a few weeks before school started and said, hey, I want to graduate a year early. And I looked at all the options, and I know if I do this, this, and this, and this is what this is how I can graduate, and then this is what I want to do with it. And they said, we'll discuss it as parents, and we'll get back to you. And he said, okay, well, here's the deadline of what I got to do. And they said, we will get back to you. And the parents privately discussed it. And 10 minutes later came back and said, go for it. Now, they just didn't leave him that way, but they kept checking in on him to see how his grades were doing, to make sure he was keeping up with everything and all of the requirements. To do a whole school year in a semester is pretty significant. And then to keep checking the requirements so he didn't miss anything, so that he could graduate with all that he needed. And there was a difference in classes and credits and how that was going to work out for him, and he had to shuffle a couple things around. But then there were the other juniors who were laughing at him because he wasn't having as much fun, and he wasn't joining in on their, and they were bullying him in some ways. And I know bully gets such a bad rap today because it's just overused and all this other stuff. But I mean, just picking on him because he was just, it is what it is. And he didn't allow that to sway him or to keep him from his goal. I love that. At 17 years old, you're like, wow, this is crazy. And it was interesting to me that all of those juniors who are now graduating as seniors, and him graduating as a senior, he started receiving all of these text messages from all of his junior friends. Hey, how you doing? You're graduating. And he was like, yeah. And he wasn't proud. He wasn't arrogant about it. He never shoved it in their face. He was humble. But he was confident and he was assured. He knows who he is. And yet, he's still figuring it out. I mean, he's 17 years old. But he's got good character. I hope that this topic tonight will allow you as a parent to pause and make sure that you are affirming and encouraging your children in the way that they should go, and that you are training them up, that you're fully present in their lives. Because they're a gift. They're a gift from God. I never had the desire to have children. I just never did. But I know that, and that's not normal, really. I mean, most people want to have children. And not to say that I wouldn't have been a great mother at all. I don't discount any of that. But it just was never a desire for me. But I love kids. I love engaging kids. And I find it amazing how well our students in general are doing when we put Christ in the center of their lives and we train them up in the way that they should go. That they're fully focused on God, that they're loving Him, that they're loving others, and that they're staying obedient to the Word, to the Scriptures, to the ancient texts, that they're in good Christian community, and that they are being influenced by others around them who also have a common goal, that it's not about being self-centered, self-motivated, self-determined, but rather being focused on the gifts and talents and calling that God has placed on their lives. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, wherever you are, as I typically end by saying, God bless you, love God, love others, and love yourself. Good night.